First, as always, a little bit of introduction about me. So my name is Jay. I'm a coding tutor. As you can see, there's a certificate right there, the third line, the AZ 900 certificate. So that is actually one of the core objectives of this session and future sessions related to this session. So I already have that certification. So I already taken the exam, already prepared for it. So when you ask questions, I will be able to tell you from my own experience of writing the exam what you can expect and how I prepared and how you can prepare. So such questions also definitely very much welcome at the end of the session. Yeah, that's about me. And so let's just dive in, guys. So let's go ahead. And so what is cloud computing? So no, by now it is not a new thing anymore. I mean, if you are even on a surface level, if you are into computers, like learning computer science or just casually as a user, you would have heard of the cloud. It's been there for more than 20, not 20, I would say at least 15 years now, where it became like when I started in 2012, becoming like a tutor and all that. By then, already cloud offerings were already available for Microsoft. And so it's been around like at least for 13 years now. And I started doing my work in the cloud as well. It's there before that also. So by now, you will know what cloud computing is like. People will say, like, oh, there was a cloud outage or something, or like, oh, why don't you put your photos in the cloud if you're running out of storage on your phone or something. So every time someone says that, they really are referring to cloud computing. Now, the official definition for this cloud computing really means I'm just going to read that definition right here: delivery of computing services over the internet instead of owning physical hardware. Now, when we talk about computing services, we are talking about servers, we are talking about storage, we are talking about databases, networking software. Here, let's start off by giving you a very simple example. Now, there's an example already on the slide about electricity, but I'll use something from my own daily life as a bonus example here. So, for example, like today, right now, I am speaking to you from a city called Coimbatore. So every day, I have to go to this office where I'm conducting training sessions for college graduates who have just joined a new company as fresh software developers. So I teach them software development at the office. For a few weeks, I'll be with them, teaching them programming. Now, every day morning, I'll use the Uber app and I'll book either a rickshaw or a taxi, depending on what is available. And then I'll use that and I'll go to the office. And then the rickshaw or the taxi will go away. And then evening again after office, I book another taxi and I come back. So here, what I'm doing is only when I need transportation, only when I need a vehicle, I pay for only that 30 minutes or however long it takes for me to travel. So I pay for what I use, and that's about it. I don't have to worry about the driver. I don't have to worry about maintaining the vehicle. I don't have to worry about any of the things related to the vehicle itself. I simply use the service, pay for whatever minutes I'm using it. So but when compared to that, let's say if I had my own car, then I'll have to take care of it. I'll have to either drive it myself or get a driver and pay the driver as well. If the car breaks down, I have to take care of it. If there is servicing, insurance, all those things, again, I'll have to take care of that as well. So that is like I'm owning the car, whereas here I'm simply paying for what I use. So that's really how cloud computing works. So whenever you want to something, you rent it for a few minutes or an hour or a day, depending on when you want it. And then after you're done using it, you don't have to pay for it anymore. So most of the time, you're paying for per hour or per minute, sometimes even per operation. So that is really how cloud computing works. Same thing with the electricity. So, like all of us obviously pay for whatever electricity that you're using. Like imagine if there was no electricity where you have to get your own generator or something in your house. You have to put the diesel or something to the generator, run it all the time. That's going to be crazy and it's going to be very expensive as well. Yes, you can say, oh, it's your own power, you control everything. But it's not really practical. So that's what cloud computing does. So if you're running a business, small business, big business, whatever it is, you don't have to have your own IT room. You don't have to have your own computers. You don't have to have your own IT administrator taking care of the computers. You don't have to worry about software updates. You don't have to worry about physical security. You don't have to worry about network security. All that the cloud computing company will take care for you. You simply pay per minute or per hour and so on. So that is really what cloud computing is. Now here there are three ways in which you can get cloud computing. So again, this is part of that AZ 900 exam. I want to talk about that just before the end of the presentation. So all the syllabus I'm showing here, it is borrowed from the official AZ 900 certificate material as well. So as I said, it's cloud computing and plus preparing for the AZ 900 exam. So one of the questions that comes up and something that you should know is in cloud computing, you have three models, like models as in what are the ways you can experience cloud as a customer. Now, when we say customer, we're always imagining like a small business or actual business and so on, but individuals can also take advantage of the cloud. So here we have infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So there are three ways, three types of services, broad categories you can get in the cloud. The first way is I'll start with infrastructure as a service. So that is where you are renting an entire virtual hardware for your specific purpose. Like let's say you're again running a small business, you want to run a website, and the website needs a web server, it also needs a database. So what you could do is you could rent a virtual machine. A virtual machine is literally a virtual computer. So the computer is given to you by the cloud company, but you have to take care of installing the OS on top of it. You have to take care of installing the necessary services. You have to take care of the configuration and things like that. So that is the first type, infrastructure as a service. So that is suitable for like scenarios where you really want complete control but still want to take advantage of the cloud. Next, you have platform as a service. So platform as a service is like between, like total control, like infrastructure, and then no control, as in software as a service. It's kind of sits somewhere in between. So platform as a service is where you get the platform, and on top of that, you do your stuff. For example, the best example I can think of is like you can rent like Windows, like Windows OS as a service on the cloud. So you will get like a ready-made Windows computer. Like when you log in on your laptop, you get like a virtual Windows. So the OS, all those things are ready. But then on top of that Windows, you can go ahead and install whatever you need for your work. Like for example, every time I have to do a session here, I have to go ahead and obviously prepare the PPT, prepare the material, prepare the content, and of course, rehearse a little bit for the presentation. So if I need to do PowerPoint presentation, then maybe I need to install Office on that virtual computer, which is running Windows. So that would be your platform as a service. So it's not as like total control like infrastructure, but not complete lack of control like software as a service. Now, software as a service is where you are getting something ready to use. Here, software as a service example would be something like, yes, the online office. Now, I don't know how many of, like Google Docs, for example, is another example of a software as a service. Like Google Docs, you log into your browser, you have Office, you have PowerPoint, you have Excel and things like that. Similarly, even Microsoft Office Cloud is also available where I can just log in. Sometimes when I'm traveling, I don't have my laptop or something, but I really need to prepare a quick PPT. I'll just log into my account from a friend's computer. Office will come online in the browser. PowerPoint will come on in the browser. All my documents are already in the Microsoft OneDrive cloud. So that is software as a service. So I don't have any control over it. Like I can't install new things, I can't change new things, but the software I need is available and ready to use. So these are three different types of things that you can get from cloud computing. Now, when I say you can get, I'm usually the cloud is mainly for businesses like small business and so on. Whereas for you, I mean to say as a developer, as a future cloud developer, as a future cloud practitioner, you need to know the kind of services you can get from the cloud. So now let's go again. There is something called now. This is the service models, like what you are getting, and in the cloud you also have something called deployment models, as in how is the cloud deployed. So here also, just like the previous slide, you have three types. You have the public cloud, you have the private cloud, and you have the hybrid cloud. Public cloud is what you see, and I'll show you my own Azure cloud account at the end of the session. So that would be a public cloud, which is available for everybody. So you log into the cloud account and start getting whatever services you want and start paying for it per minute or per hour and so on. That is public cloud. Second thing is the private cloud. Now, there are scenarios where, especially with big companies, where they want to take advantage of the cloud, but they don't want to use the commercial cloud or the public cloud. So there are software and services available where a big company, this is not practical for smaller companies, like big companies with a lot of money, like millions of dollars of budget or something. What they do is they build their own cloud. So they are running it somewhere in their office, like dedicated data center or something. They're big enough that they can have their own cloud center running. They take care of everything on their own, but they still want the benefits of cloud, where they can build, get billed or process it and so on. So that is private cloud. It's very rare, mostly like government installations, military installations, large private companies, they go for it. Now, hybrid cloud is much more common. So again, here it's like some things you're using from the public cloud, some things you're using in the private cloud. So here an example would be, this is something a lot of companies do. Small companies do it, big companies do it. So what happens is, so suppose you have a small business, maybe 10 employees, 15 employees or something, maybe they have some 10,000 users or something. So what they'll do is, maybe they want to keep their customer data private. For some reason, maybe they don't trust the cloud, some personal policy or some government regulation. So what they will do is just that user authentication, okay? Just that user authentication part, where they store customer details, financial details, banking details, maybe credit card details, stuff like that. That would be running inside their office where they have complete control and so on. But everything else, the main website, the main transaction, the main analytics, the main, content delivery network, all the other things, non-critical things, they will use the public cloud. So where they have strict requirements, maybe security requirements, like government sometimes will say like, okay, you can't store, this data outside the country or something. So such scenarios, okay, so those things like private things will be running privately, like private cloud. But at the same time, this private cloud is only 10% of their IT requirements. So remaining 90% of the IT requirements is being handled by the public cloud, which is option number one. So it's like a hybrid, literally a hybrid, like a hybrid solution. Like for example, like in India, when you have to go travel in train or something, you go ahead and book tickets online. So it's completely online system. At the same time, sometimes, if you have to travel to like small distances, like short distances or something, you can actually go to a counter and you'll get a paper ticket. So it's not completely digital. It's not 100% digital. It's like 1% physical. You still get a paper ticket, but 19% it is online. So there you go. That's what we call like a hybrid thing. So similarly here, companies will do a mix. So whatever is really like, mission critical and stuff like that, probably because of legislation or something, they will run that in a private cloud. Rest of it, they will use the public cloud. So these are the three deployment models of cloud computing. Now, what are the advantages? Now, I already mentioned in the beginning, like the biggest advantage of the cloud is that you don't really own, all the things. Again, the auto example, the taxi example, the electricity power generator example. So it'll be sometimes very difficult for you to maintain and build everything. So the biggest advantage of the cloud is that ultimately you're paying by the minute or by the hour. So how does this really help? Let's take an example again of a small business. Maybe they have, like some 10,000 users or something, but perhaps there is a festival coming. Maybe there's a weekend, like Christmas, right? So this business, it's a small business. Suddenly they're expecting, even though the 10,000 users on a daily basis, maybe not all of them are active. So maybe on a daily basis, out of those 10,000 users, 1,000 are actually coming to the website. But Christmas time, it's holiday. So before the festival, during the festival days, so they are expecting instead of the usual 1,000 visitors per day, suddenly for 7 days or 10 days, they have some estimates, they run some numbers, some forecasting. They're expecting instead of the regular 1,000 users per day, they're expecting like, okay, 10,000 users per day. But that's only for 10 days though. Now, if you did not have the cloud, just for those 10 days, you would have to invest in computers, you would have to invest in IT support people, you would have to invest in electricity, air conditioning, physical security, like security guards and stuff, and invest all these things just for those 10 days where you are expecting a rush, like heavy traffic to your website. But the remaining 355 days, you're not actually expecting such high traffic. But you already bought your computers, you already invested in the big room, the big IT team. So you are paying throughout the year for all these things, which is only needed for 10 days. So that is the kind of scenario where cloud computing really helps, like scalability. That's what we mean. It will scale. So you're expecting more traffic for 10 days. Okay, for those 10 days, you can go to your cloud console, and then for those 10 days, you can, rent out, you can buy additional database capacity, additional web server capacity, additional bandwidth, additional CDN, additional whatever you need to keep your business running. So that's what we mean by scalability and elasticity. So for 10 days, you pay more, but again, you're expecting more business. So whatever extra you're paying to the cloud, it's fine as long as your business is not affected. You got higher revenue, you got your profits. So, okay. But then once the traffic comes down, you go back to your normal thing. So you only paid more for those 10 days. And anyway, you had good business. So that's okay. So that's what we mean by cost efficiency as well. Pay as you go, right? No, it's like pay as you go. Like when you go to a restaurant, you only pay for the food that you're eating. Right? So it's similarly, pay as you go. Next, faster time to market and easier experimentation. The faster time to market means, again, same thing. So let's say your business is expanding faster than expected. No problem. It only takes a few seconds, sometimes minutes, maybe to provision a bigger virtual machine. It takes a few minutes to provision a larger database. So that's what we mean by for time to market. It takes if your user base, consumer base is growing, then you can grow with it as far as the cloud is concerned. Experimentation. So once again, same thing. So if you're trying out something new, okay, no problem. Let's say you're building a new website, you want to try it out, but you don't want to affect your main website. So no, using the cloud, you can provision a separate web app, website, separate database, separate virtual machine, separate networking, everything separate for a slow cost, and then experiment with your new app. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, you just spend the time for the cloud services. That's what we mean by easier experimentation. Next, high availability and global reach. Same thing as what you talk about, like where and all the services available. So high availability means it is available, most of the time cloud will give you like a guarantee that the service will run 99.99% of the time. So that is like a guarantee. So for sure, you'll not have any problems or something. Yes, occasionally there'll be an outage. Sometimes in the news you may have heard about, like, okay, there was an outage, and for many countries, for many cities, some website was down or things like that. Yes, they do happen, but they are rare occurrence. That is why you hear about it in the news. But otherwise, most of the time, the cloud is always available. Next thing is global reach. So here again, now think about, like, let's take the example of Zoom Cloud, right? Like when you log in, even Zoom will say that they're a cloud company and stuff like that. Now, what does that mean? I am right now sitting in India. You are sitting in another country. Professor Lambert is sitting in another country. But still, the video, the audio, everything gets transmitted without any problems. Again, that is a perfect example of the cloud. So Zoom has their data centers, from the cloud, probably in India. They have their data centers, where Professor Lambert is sitting. They have the data centers where different students are sitting. So that is why this software, despite the regional divide, where we are, like distances. It doesn't matter. The cloud is does have a global reach, so the data is able to transmit without any problems. And finally, security, backups, and compliance. Now, when you're running the business, again, there'll be a lot of regulations, especially information technology related regulations from the local government, from the business. If you want to run an IT business, there are so many things you have to do to be compliant with data policies and stuff like that. A lot of times, the cloud companies, they know what they're doing, and a lot of time they have people like experts who know how to build these systems with compliance already in place. So that, what does that mean? So if you are trying to do your own IT thing, then again you would have to get like a IT compliance guy or somebody, and you have to configure everything, get everything compliance sorted, get everything certified, and all that from the local government, stuff like that. Not a problem with the cloud. Compliance is usually automatic for most general scenarios. Same thing with backups. Again, going back to your virtual machine, going back to your databases, going back to your web server. So, whatever you're doing, cloud automatically has built-in backup options, and for an extra fee they'll even give you like triple backup. They'll give you geographical backup. That means your data is not backed up in one place, it's backed up in two different places in two different cities. So even if a disaster strikes in one city, I mean, hopefully nothing will happen, but if something should go wrong, your data is safe in two other locations. So such kind of facilities are available from the cloud. And finally, built-in security. Security, we talk about IT, there are actually two types of security. There is security like digital security and also physical security. Physical security, like if you're having your own IT system, again, you need to have camera systems, monitoring systems, security guards posted, working 24/7, including holidays and weekends. It's a lot of cost. So obviously the big cloud companies, they have their data centers, they have these top quality physical security being monitored and everything 24/7, of course, including weekends and holidays. That is about physical security. Digital security, of course, you know about the attacks, the scams, the online things. Everything online is always under attack. And that is also is the digital security, that if you are doing your own servers, that again becomes your responsibility. But with cloud, again, these are big guys, big companies. They know again what they're doing, so they have all these security protocols in place, and also experts working day and night to protect your data, protect your online network, and so on. So that's what we mean by built-in security. So these are the key things about cloud computing. And so what are the use cases? What are the places where you would use, let's say for a single person, again, as a developer, what are the things you should know? And of course, if you're a business or something, these are the things the cloud is normally used from a beginner perspective. Running websites, like for example, WordPress websites, regular React.js websites, backend servers, web API servers, whatever it is that is run by hosting websites, backups, file backups, development and test environments. So again, same thing. So if you're building some application, so you need to set up like an environment to deploy your software, run your software, test your software, share it with other developers and customers. Again, that is something. Analytics, if you're doing big data and stuff like that, for that also you need analytics. Finally, disaster recovery. As I mentioned, if you are in the business of storing data for people, maybe a commercial file service provider, there also you have options to recover your data from a disaster and so on. So these are the main things about the cloud computing, like what are the benefits, deployment models, service models, how it works, the concept and everything. So now what I really want to talk about is now this session and the follow-up session, they're all about the cloud computing from a Microsoft Azure perspective. So before I talk about that, Professor, I'll have some water, just 10 seconds.
Perfect. Take a little water break. And everybody.
Professor, I think somebody is able to draw, so if you can disable the drawing.
Ah, yes. Yep. There we go.
Let me
Got
see
most
if
of
I
it.
can turn it. There must be an option here. One second.
Looks like there's still a little something left there. Try again. Yeah, now we got it.
Okay, all right, Professor. Okay, I had my glass of water, Professor. Thank you. Okay. Again, it's coming back. I don't know where we can disable it, Professor.
I'll take care of it.
I remember there was a button, Professor. Last time I was able to do it, but it was a while ago. Disable. Yeah, there you go, Professor.
It's under annotate.
Yeah, I think you also did it. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, all right, guys. So now you have some idea about what the standard cloud computing does. Now let's get a little bit specific. Now, in right now, when we think about big cloud providers, the public cloud providers, we have Microsoft, but the biggest is Amazon. Okay, so the biggest cloud company in the world is Amazon AWS. So that is the big dog. Okay, so I think about 60 to 65% of the world's cloud is being managed by Amazon. So that's why when AWS has an outage, it affects everybody. So they're like the biggest cloud company in the world. Next after that is Microsoft Azure. So obviously I'm a Microsoft.NET guy. I'm a Microsoft certifications guy. So I'm teaching Microsoft Azure because that's what I do. So that Microsoft Azure is the second biggest cloud provider. After this, you have a lot of other companies, like Google Cloud is there, Oracle Cloud is there, IBM Cloud is there, a lot of smaller companies as well. But the two big companies are AWS and Azure, right? So just something for you to know. So we are talking about Microsoft Azure then. So Microsoft Azure Cloud does all the things that we talked about in the cloud. You can get compute. Compute is nothing but your virtual machines, infrastructure as a service thing. You can get storage services from Microsoft, networking services, building virtual networks where you can design networking related software and web apps. Databases, okay. Now storage and database, you might be thinking, okay, aren't they the same? So storage is where you're storing blobs, binary objects, like images, files, music, videos, PDFs, stuff like that. That is where storage, file storage or blob storage is the word we like to use in the cloud. Databases is mainly about databases. So when you're building applications and software like APIs, web APIs, I was talking about this in my other session about React.js. So such things, storing data in rows and columns, that is databases. AI services, obviously, today, no, nothing is complete without some mention of AI. Even like Zoom also, when you join, Zoom will say this meeting is being transcribed by AI and stuff like that, right? So there you go. AI is everywhere. So obviously, AI services are provided by Microsoft Azure as well. So here, AI services means like when we talk about AI, you would frequently hear about words like models, right? Fine tuning them, latest models, newer models, mathematical models, conversational models, chatbots, and stuff like that. Storage of data, all the things that whatever the AI development needs, those things are provided by Azure. So let's say if you are building a chatbot, then you can rent a AI model server from Azure, and then you can do your fine tuning also on Azure. You can do the machine learning also on Azure. You have AI studios where you can do all these things directly on the browser. So everything that you can think of that you can do with AI, those services again are available from the Azure cloud. And finally, developer services. Everything that a developer needs to get work done. So you want to store your code in repositories. You want to do deployment using continuous integration and continuous deployment. You want to automate deployment to the app stores of mobile services. So those are the kind of things. Again, developer services. And of course, these days you have these developer AI agents. I use that a lot in my work. It's actually pretty cool. This I know is not an AI session, but a lot of times, like I'll be working on something and I will get stuck. And what the AI agent does is you can like tell the AI agent, what is going wrong. You can sit and tell all the details, and then you tell the AI agent to investigate. And then usually after some 5-10 minutes, the AI agent will tell you what the problem is, and most of the time give you the solution as well. So again, those are developer services available from Microsoft Azure Cloud, right? So let's keep going here. Next, what are the main offerings? Yeah, oh, so this is like general way. This is more specific. So main offerings: virtual machines, containers, like Docker containers, managed app hosting. This is where you deploy your WordPress websites, regular websites, Bootstrap websites, React.js websites, and so on. Serverless functions. So it's actually possible to build these. They're called trigger functions and stuff like that. That's actually called Azure functions. It's difficult to explain here, but it's a very big thing. Maybe I'll talk about in a future session. So serverless functions are available from Microsoft Azure. Object file storage, blob storage, relational and NoSQL databases. Those of you who have a computer science background or attended one of my sessions, you'll know that databases, there are two types mainly. You have relational databases where you have foreign key, primary key, strict schema of how and where data must be stored. Whereas NoSQL databases or document-based databases, these are databases where there is no strict structure as such, so you have more freedom on how you store data. I mean, both of them have their own pros and cons. And finally, AI and ML services. Azure has a lot of AI specific tools, like for example, AI Studio I told you about, and AI agents and things like that. So all these things available from Microsoft Azure Cloud. So all the features of cloud computing are available in Microsoft Azure Cloud as well. Scalable resources. So again, here, let's say I am using an Azure database. I will show how to create Azure database, Azure web apps. I'll show all those things in future sessions. But scalable resources. So let's say I have a website and I'm seeing a lot of traffic. Then it's very easy for me to scale in or scale out the web app so more users can access my website. And if the user should go down, then I can go to a lower plan. It takes hardly a few seconds, something. Again, these things I'll show in future sessions. And then you can reduce your bill as well. So, that's scalability, pay as you go pricing. So in Azure, what happens? I think today itself, I'll show you my Azure portal, how it looks. I'll even take you to the billing page, not a problem. So what it does is it gives me a bill for every second or every minute of what I've used something. So let's say I'm working on something and I use a database for 10 minutes. Then I'll get a bill only for 10 minutes. Let's say I built a web app and I'm showing that I'm doing a training session. So morning I start the web app and I shut it down in the evening. So I'll get a bill for 8 hours, and that I'll show you today before the session. I will show you before the end of the session how it looks, the billing stuff, right? So that is your pay as you go, but global reach. So from my Azure account, I can set up these servers, I can set up these databases in any Azure region anywhere in the world. So how does this help me? Again, taking my training example, let's say I'm teaching a student. I'm teaching them about databases. Okay. Again, database is something I'll show in a future session, how to create database, how to connect to it and all that. And let's say the student is in US. So a lot of times what I'll do is, just so that it is convenient for the student, I'll be able to create a database in one of the US data center regions, right? And if I'm teaching someone in London, then I can create the web app and the database in London. So like that, global reach. Azure, just like the cloud thing we discussed, it has global reach. Similarly, built-in security, compliant features. So whatever kind of compliance is needed, whatever security you're expecting for running your business, whether it is a single person like an Azure developer level of business or a small business or big business, compliance is automatically done by Azure. If there's extra compliance, there are a lot of tools given by Microsoft to become compliant. Finally, this is something which I already mentioned, developer tools and CI/CD workflows. So as a developer, when I'm developing stuff, for example, I talked about Azure functions. Again, that is something I'll show in a future session. So where all the tools, the editor, the cloud integration, integration with the repository, integration with continuous development and deployment, all this ready-made, like everything is available. So my job as a developer is just to focus on building the code. All the other things, most of the time, is automated. So I can just focus on getting the work done. So those services, developer services and tools are again provided by Microsoft Azure Cloud. So here, guys, I need to tell you, look, this, if you're making notes, this is where you want to make some notes here. And of course, the session is recorded, so you can always do this after the session as well. The first thing is, if some of you are planning to follow along with what I am doing in future sessions, you need to get ready. So if you want to do that, then the first thing you want to do after the session is over is you have to get yourself a Microsoft account, right? So the Microsoft account, you probably already have it, but most people have a Google account. So I mean, you can create the Azure account with Google as well, but I personally prefer it. Like if you're just starting with the cloud, you might as well create a Microsoft account. So first thing is you have to use a Microsoft account. I put some details on the slide here, but these are common things which is available in any email service. So if you all, obviously you all have Google accounts, so you have the email, you have the calendar, you have the contacts, you have access to Google Drive and all that. So same things are all available from a Microsoft account. The thing is, I would request you, if you're planning to get that Microsoft certification, right? If you eventually want to take the exam 3 months, 6 months down the line, you would anyway have to create a Microsoft account. So you might as well do it now and start practicing. So first step, get yourself Microsoft account. But notice the bottom, I've added a note. You can use any other email as well. If for some reason you don't want to create a Microsoft account, that's okay. You can use your Google account, not a problem. Now let's keep going here. Now, next thing is, the Azure account is separate from the Microsoft account. So Microsoft account is the email account, whereas the Azure account is your cloud account. That is the account through which you'll be able to access your cloud services. So just to make it, distinction here, Microsoft account is a general account for email and things like that, whereas Azure account is the separate account you have to sign up for to use the cloud services. The example for this is, like for example, like if I'm about to shop on Amazon, right? So I already have an email address. I have a Microsoft account. So when I go to Amazon.com, I register for a new account using my Microsoft Outlook account. So similarly, Microsoft Azure account is like how you would sign up for an account on Amazon. So the Azure account is where you will get access to the cloud services. So please keep this in mind. If possible, create a Microsoft account. But remember, if you already have a Google account and you don't want to create a Microsoft account, create an Azure account directly on the Azure portal website, right? So again, there are many things here. There's things like subscriptions, how to get the subscriptions and stuff like that. That is something I'll probably talk about in the next session. But now, where do you create it? Where do you go? So that I need to show you. So let me quickly get the browser here. So you will need to go to, I'm going to open a private window. So first step is you want to go and get your Outlook account. You would see a website, something like, yeah, there you go. Okay. So you would see a website, something like this. Okay. Here you would have an option called sign in if you already have an account. Otherwise, there's an option called create a free account. So I would request you, especially those who really want to get your Microsoft Azure certification 3 months, 6 months down the line, then yes, create an account. I already have an account, so I don't have to create an account, but just showing you, that's why I opened a private tab. Next, you want to go ahead and sign up for an account on Azure. So let's go ahead and go to Microsoft Azure. So there you go, folks. So this is the website for Microsoft Azure. Oh, it's directly taking to the login page. Hold on, let me, okay. There we go. So this is the Microsoft Azure portal, okay? So here, I would request you to simply search for it online and go to this page, okay? And if you guys want to, I'll put this link in the group chat as well. But again, remember the chat will get over when the session ends. So if you want to make a note, you want to make a note of that now, copy the link, but you can just watch the recording and just Google it, right? So I'm just sending this. Okay, I'm sending this to everyone. So I've sent the link of the Azure portal. You should have gotten it. There you go, right? So this is where you'll come in and then you'll see an option again, sign in when you already have the account. Whereas if you're just starting, then you need to go ahead and set up a new account using the new account option. Now, there are a couple of things I want to mention here. Azure does give you what is called as a, you see here it says try Azure for free. So Azure does give you like a free trial for new users. Now, depending on where you are, like which part of the world you are, you might get a 3 month trial or you might get a 12 month trial. I am not really sure. So it changes from place to place. So when I signed up for the account, I'm talking 13 years ago, I got like, I think back then there was some offer or something. The cloud was new. I got about 12 months of free Azure. Not everything was free, but some things were free with some limits. So depends on where you are, which city you are, which country you are, and so on. But the main thing you need to remember is when you are signing up for an account, Azure will ask you to put a credit card. So if you don't have a credit card, I don't think you can sign up for the account at all. So that is like a roadblock, but that is how it is. So, if you want to use the cloud, if you want to become a cloud developer, I'm afraid, so you may have to, if you already have a credit card, I mean, they won't charge you, they won't bill you, but they will still ask you for the card, even though they're giving you like a free trial or something. So either you already have a card or you take a friend or borrow someone with their permission, of course, and then only you can activate the Azure account. So that is a roadblock. So if you don't have the card, that could be a problem. I actually did not have a car 13 years ago when I was starting, so I had to borrow from a friend. And luckily, my friend trusted me enough to give his car details and everything. So it is what it is. Okay, it's a major roadblock, but there's no escaping it. So these are the two steps I would request you to do before the next session if you want to follow along and try all the many things that I'm planning to show you. So every session I'm planning to cover topics from the AZ900 exam, and each exam will have a topic about a specific cloud service. And my plan is to, really just give you a live demo of everything. So if there's a topic about databases, then I want to log in and show you how to create databases. I want to log in and show you how to use it, how to connect to it. And if it's a developer-oriented service, then I want to show you the code. I want to show you how to deploy the code. That is really my plan here. But that can only happen when you have these two things ready, which is one, the Outlook account or any email address, and a Microsoft Azure account. But here you'll have to use your card to even sign up for the free service, right? So next, yeah, before I go, I have to talk about the AZ900 exam. So this is the certificate I was talking about. So I have 4 Microsoft certificates. One of them is AZ900. So this is the entry level Microsoft certification for those who are just coming in to the cloud. So most of my life, all my career, I've spent teaching developers who are just finished college or entry level developers. So for me, this certificate was very useful. So, whenever I apply for a training role or something, I'll tell them, hey, I have this certificate. And it really makes them feel confident, the customer, the client, they become happy because, I'm teaching freshers. And a lot of times companies will be like, hey, you know what, you already have this certificate. Like how I'm talking to you right now, the companies will be like, okay, why don't you go ahead and help our students as well, our employees as well, get this certificate because these are fresh college graduates who are just starting their life as a developer and they should have this certificate. So that is where you come in as well. So this exam is called AZ900. It's a fundamental level certificate. It has a few topics. We will be going through all the topics in future sessions. And it tests some basic things about Azure, folks. It tests cloud concepts, like all the things we talked about. It talks about core services like compute storage. We'll see all those things and also talks about what kind of security cloud gives, what a privacy cloud gives, what is good about Microsoft, how does pricing work, what are service level agreements. So the Azure certificate tests your knowledge about fundamentals. So it is not a difficult exam. but it is not easy either. And also, just like the cloud thing, the exam is you have to pay for it, and it is kind of expensive. So again, the price changes from country to country. In some countries, it is very cheap. In some countries, it is expensive. But again, that depends on where you are. But even if it is, like discounted or something, it is still a lot of money. And if you fail the exam, obviously you don't get the money back. So you'll have to again wait for 24 hours or 1 month or something like that to take the exam again. So again, there's an investment there. So you want to be very, very sure before you take the exam. So I have written some Microsoft exams where I paid the expensive fees and I didn't pass. So now I have to study again and try and then pass the second time or the third time, like any other exam. So there's a learning period involved, but here the cost is real. So please do keep that in mind. Okay. But I will make sure and I'll cover as many topics as I can. That is about the AZ900 certificate. But the good thing about this certificate is it's valid all over the world. You can, like, for example, like whenever I introduce myself, I'll tell people that, like, here I mention all my certificates. Like, okay, I have 4 Microsoft certificates. It makes you like a professional. It shows that you have some skills. It looks good on your resume. It looks good on your LinkedIn. It looks good on your PowerPoint. So, and it's globally valid, and the exam is conducted in test centers which have like camera everywhere. I mean, I'll talk about my exam experience, in the future. But it's a real exam. It's a tough exam, and that is why it has so much value, because it is difficult to get. It costs money to get it. So that's about the AZ900. Now, before I take any questions, I want to show you how the Azure portal looks. We won't do anything. I just want to show you how it looks. We'll go deeper in future sessions. So let me do that. I'm already signed in, so I'll automatically log into my. Oh, I have 2 accounts, so I'm just 1 second. Yeah. So once you set up your own account, this is what you should see. So if you reach this page like this, it takes a few seconds to load. There you go. So you should see something similar. You won't see the exact same thing, like different people have different layouts, but you will see something like this. So these are all the services that I'm using right now. Some of them I'm paying money right now. Some of them are free things which I don't have to pay for. Okay. So that's what I was talking about. Like, even though my account is, so sometimes I pay a lot of money, I pay a big bill if I'm using a lot of things, like there's a big training going on. Sometimes I don't have to use it and I don't pay any money. So just to give you an idea, I'll go directly to my billing section. And yeah, there you go. And I'll show you like how the billing, they calculate the billing per minute. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. So Professor Lambert, are you able to see this small graph here, sir?
Yes.
Let me try to zoom in there, Professor. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
better
can
to zoom in. There you go.
Yes, yeah. So there you go, guys. See, somewhere on 25th, that is December. Yeah, I did. Oh yeah. Oh, that is August, I think. Yeah. So that's about $6. And then again in November, I don't know how, again $6. Or is it per day? No, no, no. That's the month. Yeah, there you go, Professor. So I used up something for a few seconds. I got that bill. And then in December, I didn't do much. It's like less than $1. So that's in Indian rupees, guys. So don't let it think like, okay, that's in dollars. That's Indian rupee. That's not the US dollar. So yeah, so it's like $1 worth of services I used. I think that's the biggest bill I have paid in some time. But again, I do use a lot of cloud services. But what I do is I'm very careful. Like I'll use it. Like if I know I need something for 10 minutes, I'll use it for 10 minutes and I'll immediately delete it. So that is something I do a lot. I even have a reminder when I'm working on the cloud. I have a sticker on my laptop, like just above the laptop, that says delete your Azure resources, right? Because let's say you spin a database, and let's say it is like, okay, per hour it's like $1. Let's just take it that way, $1. But then you forget to delete it. So by the time you go to sleep and you come back tomorrow, 24 hours have passed. You're not using it, but that doesn't matter to the cloud. That's a bill of $24 for you. And let's say you forget, maybe that was the last day of the training and I don't even log in for a month. That's 24 into 30. That's $600+. And Microsoft doesn't care that you forgot to delete it, right? I mean, yeah, sometimes you can tell them like, okay, look, I didn't use it. Maybe, okay, it depends on who you talk to. But yeah, but again, that's extreme scenario. So that's what I'm trying to say, guys. So with cloud, be careful. That's why they take your credit card, because they will bill you immediately. So please remember this. And I will remind you in every session to delete your resources. But the best thing you can do is put a sticker above your laptop, or tell your mom or somebody in your house, like tell them whenever you get away from your laptop, tell them to ask you, did you delete all the resources? So that's another easy way to.
So Jay, deleting the resources is like deleting files and storage space?
That's right, Professor. Like, for example, sir, here on the screen, you will see that I'm still running some services. Let me just give you a live demo, sir. Let me just show you the delete button. So for example, sir, I'm using this service called Cosmo DB Learning. Do you see that, sir? So if I go into this one.
Yes.
It is live. It is running right now. Right there on the top, there's a small delete button. Do you see that, sir? That's it. So it's not like they'll try to hide the delete button or anything like that. So even the company wants to make sure you only pay for what you actually use. It's not like a hidden cost, like, oh, they want to hide things. No. This is a developer service.
So if you don't delete it, it's just sitting there. It's not doing anything, but they're still charging you time to put it there?
Yes, Professor. But this one, there was an offer. They said I can use it unlimited as long as I want. So that's why I just left it on. So I think it was a new service at that time. So there was like an offer going on, like use this coupon and you can use it as much as you want within limits, like up to a certain limit. And there's an option where it says, if you go beyond the limit, do you want us to bill you or do you want us to stop the service? So I just use the option stop the service. So it is very developer friendly, Dr. Lambert. The thing is, it's up to me. Like, when you're driving a car, it's your responsibility to wear the seatbelt. Now, if you forget to wear the seatbelt, you can't blame, accident happens. You can't blame somebody else. Dr. Lambert, I'm ready for questions, Professor Lambert. I'm done with my slides. That's the last thing I want to show.
Questions, everybody? Oh, we do have a question in here from Pedro. Do you see it?
Oh, one second. There's it.
What are the practical differences between IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, and how do you choose which one to use?
Okay. I think there are two questions, Professor. Should I answer the first one and then go to the what did it help if I went to migrate?
Sounds like
I'll answer both of them together. They're related, Professor. I can answer them both. Okay. Right, guys. So the question is, it ultimately comes down to how much of control you want to give up, and in return, how much convenience you want to get. So when we talk about IaaS, so that is infrastructure as a service. So here mostly we are talking about virtual machine. So it is like, instead of buying your own computer, you're renting a computer on the cloud. So you can install, like if you want to use Windows, you can install Windows. If you want to install Linux, you can install Linux. If you want to use it as a database server, you can install your own database server. But then if you're installing Windows, you have to buy a Windows license. If you want to install a database server, you have to buy a database license. And then every day you have to sit and maintain it, apply the security updates, apply the patches. So if your business requires a virtual computer, which gives you complete control, but it also gives you all the headaches. So if that's what you want, then you go with IaaS. But then platform as a service is where, okay, some control you're willing to give up, whereas other control you want to retain. But control also means headaches. So in PaaS, for example, you can kind of rent Windows, like the Windows OS. You get like a Windows OS, like you log in to Windows. So you don't have to worry about OS maintenance. The cloud will take care of it. But then on top of Windows, let's say you're trying to run some kind of a file server. So now you have to configure the file server yourself. You have to get the license for the file server yourself. So there you go. So like this, it depends on how much control you want and how much convenience you want to get in return. A platform as service, the best example is the WordPress website. You get a nice website ready to use. You don't have to worry about configure it, nothing. You just log in, put your content, and you're done. But there, you don't have any control about when the updates will happen, what the management will do, what version, and things like that. You don't have any control there, but you do get the convenience. So depends on your business. Now, when do you move to the cloud? Well, the answer is, well, now is the time. So, if you're running a business, like let's say you have a company which sells ice cream and you need a website for that. So there is no way in today's day and age with the cost and everything, you can get your own IT room, an IT developer, a team to, air conditioned room to run the computers 24/7 and all that. So no, the question doesn't exist. So if you are going to start a business, you will be using computer services, you have to be on the cloud. There is no alternative unless you are some multi-million-dollar company or the government or military or something, in which case, obviously for legal reasons or something, you would set up your own stuff. So that is the answer to the first two questions, Professor. Should I move on to the next one, sir?
Yes, please, Jay.
So here I'm getting a question that says, if AWS, oh no, not that. Difference between hybrid cloud and multi-cloud. So again, that is, well, in hybrid cloud, what happens is you have some things which are in-house, like inside your office. Like, for example, I talked about user data. So maybe for some reason, some trust issues or legal reasons, you're not allowed to store user details in the cloud. So you would set up your own database, maybe not a big data center, maybe one small room inside your office with one IT guy taking care of it. There you go. That's when, but everything else, you are using the cloud in all other data, all other files, all other virtual machines. Everything is coming from Microsoft Azure, but only the database related to your customer data is being maintained by your team, even though it's costly, maybe for government reasons and so on. Now that is your hybrid cloud. Now multi-cloud is like, okay, like you are a small business, but let's say you have, like right now you're taking a session on Azure cloud, right? So you're happy with what you see, so you get everything from Microsoft Azure. But then suddenly, maybe you get an email from Amazon, and Amazon says, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you the same database for 25% discount. Only the database. Other things, no discount. So you're like, okay, I'm getting an offer. So what you do is you'll just the database part, you will switch from Microsoft Cloud to Amazon Cloud. So now you're using multiple cloud companies. So that's literally multi-cloud. You're using services from multiple cloud companies. So that's what we mean by multi-cloud. Next thing they're asking is, the question is, what is the difference between Azure and cloud? They're nothing different. They're just word. Like Azure is, there are many cloud companies. Azure, Microsoft Azure is one of them. So there's no like difference between Azure and cloud. It's just Azure cloud. It's like Azure cloud. Next thing is, if AWS cloud is 65 volume market, meaning Microsoft Azure 35. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's just an estimate. I know AWS is like the biggest cloud. They don't give out numbers, right? So this is just a developer estimate. So yeah, about 60 to 65% is that much I'm sure. AWS is the biggest cloud company in the world, no doubt about it. Azure maybe 20% or 25%. Google is even smaller. IBM Cloud even smaller. Oracle Cloud smaller than that. I think so. Again, there's no exact number, guys, because they don't share actual usage. But we can guess by how much money they make. Like Amazon is the world's biggest company, so they must be the biggest cloud company. So so that's how like just developer talk. Then even the country, right? What are your advice on data security? So, guys, the advice on data security is very straightforward. Most of the time, your government, where you are, will decide which data can be put in the public cloud and which data you will have to put in your own office. So, it's not really a question of what you can do or cannot do. It's more a question of, okay, you can put everything in the cloud, it is cheaper, but the government regulation says that this has to stay in your office. Other things, okay, it doesn't matter. Other times, what happens is the Microsoft or Google Cloud or Amazon Cloud, they would already have spoken to your government wherever you are, and they would have obtained the necessary compliance certificates, like not the certificate we are talking about, like compliance, compliance certificates. So cloud companies do that. So if you are a big enough business, then you can actually approach the local sales office or email them and tell them, hey, we are trying to do this. Do you have compliance in my country? And they will get back to you and tell you, hey, yeah, this is already compliant. You can use it. So I don't think it is your decision because you don't really have a choice. So if your government says you can do this, then you will. Otherwise, you can't. But if you're running a private business, which has nothing to do with government or government doesn't interfere, like for example, here in India, if I'm trying to set up a business or something, it's perfectly okay to store my data because all the cloud providers, they are compliant with Indian government regulations. So I don't have to worry about it. So the compliance is automatic. So there you go. So here I don't have to worry because the compliance is already there. So hopefully that answers your question about data security. That was the last question, Professor. Somebody wants to speak and ask a question, I can answer, or they can put it in the
Well,
chat.
that was the question from CC Jules, I think. CC Jules, are you good
Oh,
with
okay.
the answer? Go ahead, CC Jules. Yeah, we've run out of time too, so the class is ending.
It's okay, Professor.
Thank
If
you.
you have time, I have time.
My two questions already answered by the Master J, the expert J, I can say. So the only things I would like to, as additional remark and maybe questions, is the cloud, external cloud platform like GCP or Microsoft Azure are very, very solicited actually in Guinea. But one part of opinion, whatever government or private business and so on, they need external data security, data security from external platform like Microsoft, like AWS, Microsoft Azure, because as Mr. J said, there are more advantage in terms of the cost, very cost effective for the external cloud platform data storage than in the country or private storage, because there are a lot of risk in case of damage or disasters and so on. This is actually the tendency the trend in my country here in Guinea. That's why I would like to have advice from the expert, from my expert, my AIU expert.
Right. Yeah, like if the government is fine, then just use the cloud is my advice. If the government is okay, then go for it. If the government is not okay, then we don't have a choice, right? I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, right. Thank you for the answer. The good answer, very good answer.
Thank you.
Thank you for your wonderful questions, CC Jules.
Professor, there is one more question. I can answer that if we have time. Yeah, I have time. Okay.
Yeah, we'll just have one more minute.
Okay. In cost management tools, it's possible to implement budget and alerts and how. So the how part, yes, I will go deep into it in a future session. Right now, I cannot do that. But the rest of the question I can answer. Definitely, there are budget automated restrictions you can put. Okay, this is not like your like how when you get a credit card, there's a lot of hidden cost or something, or when you go for a cruise or travel package, they never tell you the total cost. They try to hide a lot of costs or something. This is not like that, guys. Whatever you're gonna, even the website itself will try to help you to reduce your cost. The website has automated alerts where they can send you emails. Like if you're a business with 5 people, there are settings available where all 5 people can get an email, like, okay, you're about to hit your budget limit. So let's say if I put a budget limit of $500 per month or even $100 per month, as the usage reaches that, automatically you'll get an alert. And I think there's an option even where it'll automatically shut down all the services. I mean, it might affect your business, at least it won't bankrupt you. So it's not as scary as it sounds, as long as you're cautious. Like right now, I was talking about that database which is running right now. It's running all the time. I'm not deleting it right now because I got an offer that said, as long as I use it to a certain limit, they'll not bill me. And there's even an option that says, oh, if you're crossing the limit, what should we do? Should we shut it down or should we continue to bill you? And there's an option that says, no, shut it down. I'm just a trainer. I use it for training projects. So if it shuts down, it's not the end of the world. I can just create a new database. So there are all provisions available to help you control the cost.
All right, that'll do it. And you're going to be back. How many classes are you going to do in this series?
Professor Lambert, they said they will let me know later, Professor. It could be many sessions. I don't know right now, Professor.
Okay.
They said this is the first session, so the schedule is I don't know.
Perfect. Lot to go into here, because this is a critical part of working with computers and the internet.
Like the JavaScript session, Professor, they went on for almost like 20 sessions, I think so.
Yeah. All right, that'll do it. Thank you so much, Jay. We want you back to keep talking about this, because there's a lot more to go into here. That'll do it. So everybody, you're going to be able to unmute your microphones to say thank you and bye to Jay. Go ahead.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Professor Lambert, sir. It is such a nice pleasure to meet you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Take care, guys. Take care. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Dr. Lambert.
Bye.
Have a wonderful day now, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, have a wonderful day, Jay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
All the best.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Good to see everybody.
Professor.
Bye-bye. Till next time.
Till next time, guys.